Rooster.
We are thrilled to be here.
Welcome.
To have you.
Welcome.
Wow, this is so exciting for us. Do you know what's happening right now in the evolution of your Earth?
Yes.
What is happening right now? What's going on?
Total eclipse of the sun.
And what does that mean? What is happening?
The roosters think it's morning. Oh.
Well, what this is happening is marking a timestamp on your history between what happened in the past and what's happening in the future. This exact day, this exact time, whenever this happens on Earth, it is a clear indication that what happened in the past led you to this point right now. And from this point on, everything is going to be different. Everything will change. You are ascending. You are moving from fear, mostly living in fear, to mostly living in love. And this marker, this causality of focus, this thing that is bringing your focus to you, everyone on the planet is looking at this one thing. The entire planet is focused right now on this one thing. All the dogs are focused on this one thing right now. The entire planet is focused on one point. And especially North America is focused on one point. And why is this happening in North America? Is it a coincidence this happening in North America right now? Is this coincidence that it's traveling from one coast to the other coast right through the middle right now? Well, there are no coincidences, are there? Nothing is random. No. There are no accidents at all. Is this by design? Well, you could say it's by design. Has this been in the progress of happening since the beginning of the planet? Well, you could say that too. You could say that it's just a random thing, and just now, on August 21st, 2017, in your time, that this was always going to happen. But isn't it interesting that it's happening right now, and that you can all focus on this one event in unison, together? Now, when you look at this one event, are you seeing the magical universe in action? Are you focused towards something in love? Are you looking at it in a way that is beneficial and empowering? Or are you looking at it in fear, thinking that this light that's going to be blocked out, that you will not have the brightness of the sun for 2.5 minutes, are you looking at that in fear? No. Most of you, vast majority, are looking at it in love. So you are unified in your belief that this is a wonderful experience to be enjoyed. And in that, you bring tremendous energy towards your collective consciousness. And it is this consciousness that is right now focused not on what you think is wrong, as these events of the past had led you up to this point. But now you're all taking your focus away what you think is wrong and towards what you think is right. And then doing so with the entire country and maybe the North American continent and maybe many other people around the world watching it on TV, with this focus of attention towards something magnificent, you elevate the vibration of all, of the entire species. Now, do you elevate the vibration of the animals? No, because the animals and the earth itself is at a high vibration already. By looking and perceiving in a way of love, you are just aligning with how the animals are anyway, how the earth is anyway. The animals are naturally living in love. They are naturally living as intended prior to their birth. It's the humans that have this choice of focus, whether to perceive fear as a real thing or to understand that life is moving along naturally and gracefully towards the unfolding of the desires. And it is only by perceiving danger or this illusion of danger through fear that you can be distracted from that which you truly want. And as you people are living less and less and less in fear, and more and more and more in love, and understanding how the universe really works, and understand that you are being guided towards all that you wanted. And that the distractions of those things that you think are bad or wrong are not bad or wrong, are merely this illusion of bad or wrong from your personal perspective. But from the perspective of those people going through what they're going through, it's just a clarifying event. It's just another manifestation event. It's just birthing new desires. And that's all it is. So we say, congratulations to those of you who are focused today in a way that is empowering. And remember from this day forward that you can always focus on something in a way that's empowering. Just as you are focusing on this eclipse in a way that is empowering and fun and joyful and exciting, you can focus on anything. And this event can allow you to recall how you felt as you were focused in a way that was empowering. And whenever you choose to see something is wrong, you can go back and remember the eclipse. And you can remember this conversation. How easy is that? How easy is this life? How simple is all this information? It makes so much sense, doesn't it? Is there anything about what we have said that doesn't make sense or doesn't seem to work? Or doesn't seem to be aligned with what you really think? It all falls in. It's hard to think in a way that defies what we are saying. The only way you could think differently about what we're saying is if you were focused in fear on something that you perceived as wrong. But if you perceived no fear and if you thought nothing was wrong, then everything we are saying would work perfectly, would make sense to you. So the only thing you need to do in order to live this new approach to life is realize that nothing's wrong and that everything's happening for everyone all the time. Oh, but you say, what happens when this happens? This is definitely wrong. This is definitely bad. This should never have happened. Well, that only happens during the event itself. And because your perspective is simply focused in a way that is based in fear and based in a limiting belief. But that event itself is there to help you see the limiting belief. But 10 years from now, you look back on that event and you see, oh yes, everything worked out perfectly. So from this higher perspective, whether it is from the non-physical or whether it is after a lag of time, you can always see that the events are always right, were always for you, worked out perfectly, were part of the whole process all along. And they allowed you to move your vibration in such a way that eventually you would get what you wanted to get out of it. So having said that, who would like to talk about something that's going on in their lives right now?
I would.
Excellent.
This is Genevieve.
Hi, Genevieve.
Hi. I want to talk about art. I have really been trying to focus on building or working on henna art, and I've also come to the realization that I have skill and talent around drawing.
Okay, what is the skill and the talent? What is the skill and the talent? Is the skill the ability to move your hand in such a way that you can accurately reproduce ideas in your head or things that you're looking at onto the subject of your art? Is that the skill?
Yes.
No. The skill is allowing your hand to be guided and through inspiration coming from the non-physical. The skill is...
How do I do...
How do you do it? You allow it. You allow it. So you are naturally an allower. The only thing that can block your allowing ever is fear. Fear that you can't do it. Fear that what you're doing is defined by you. Fear that what the other person will think once you're done with the art. Fear of all these things, right? Without that fear, and we mean completely without that fear, if you had no fear whatsoever, which means you had supreme confidence in what you were doing, you would simply flow with the inspiration to move your hand in the moment as guided from non-physical, whether that's your inner self, whether that's source, whether that's your guides, your millions, what have you. It doesn't matter. The inspiration to move your arm this way, all you're doing is being the tool of the universe to bring forth that idea into physical reality. Onto, in this case, do you do the art on people?
She dropped off the call. Oh, she's back.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Did you miss every single thing we said?
No.
Excellent.
I understand. I feel like I understand that I understand what is being said, and I can see how the way I perceive myself is coming out in the work that I'm doing currently. And I want to change that, or I want to work on more allowing. But I feel like when I'm drawing, I don't know how to just allow without thinking.
So allowing would be your natural state. You would allow without thinking, just as Gary is allowing without thinking right now. He does not believe that the message that we're sending is defining who he is. He enjoys his process, but whatever we say doesn't mean anything about who he is. So he's able to allow us to say whatever we want to say, to a certain extent, right? If we were speaking in French, he would not allow that to come through because he wouldn't think that he'd be able to speak French or that his French accent would be ridiculous, that sort of thing, right? So to the extent that he allows us, we can come through as authentically as possible. To the extent which he restricts us, because he is defining himself through this, limits what can come through. Like we cannot say anything that he would consider preposterous, right? Because he limits what comes through. He is, on one hand, not defining himself by this, and on the other hand, defining himself by this. And so this is the tug-of-war that you will always play. The less you care about what people think of what you're doing, the more authentically you can allow it to come through. But you will always have some fear that what you are doing is reflected back on you. You will always have some idea that who you are as a being matters in the context of what you're creating as this creating being. So, the tool to get more confident, more comfortable with this, is to remove yourself from the process, or to remove your opinion of what other people think about you from this process. If you were the greatest artist in the history of the world, and you were alone in a studio without anyone ever seeing what you create, then you could allow the vision in your head to come through in your artwork. But in your case, do you create in front of other people?
Sometimes.
And sometimes when you are creating, is it the creation that will be given or sold to another person or done for money?
Hopefully, yes. Yes.
So, in order for you to receive money for what you're doing, you have to judge it as good or bad. You have to coerce it into an area that allows your beliefs to work with it. So you have certain limiting beliefs and certain beneficial beliefs. The first beneficial belief you have is that you are an artist. That's a very wonderful, beneficial belief. It's highly beneficial. And it allows you to even attempt the artwork, where most people would never attempt the artwork because they don't have that beneficial belief. So you've already got that going for you. But you also have some limiting beliefs too. And so the only way to gain more satisfaction about what you're doing is to work with this dynamic of beneficial and limiting beliefs. So you increase the intensity of your beneficial beliefs and you reduce the intensity of your limiting beliefs. You do this by making up stories. You see, when you create something, you're making up a story. And your story says, well, this person will like this, or this person will not like this. But you don't know if they will like it or not because you have no idea what they're thinking. And even if you knew what they were thinking, it wouldn't matter anyway because their thoughts come through the filter of their perspective or their perception of reality. And their fears and beliefs and all that stuff too. So the way to do anything, to gain more confidence in anything, is to start making up empowering stories. Since you're making up stories anyway, why not make them so that they have the effect of increasing the intensity of beneficial beliefs and decreasing the intensity of limiting beliefs? Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
So you're going to make up a story. You're going to make up a story about what someone else thinks about what you're doing, about the work that you're creating. And that story is generally quite limiting. Oh, I'm not sure what they'll think of this. Oh, I wish I could have done better. Oh, I wish I could be more accomplished as an artist or a creator of anything. Oh, they're not going to think it's worth the money they're paying. Oh, what happens if they don't like it at all? Will I have to give them a refund? Oh, what happens if they give me a bad review? What happens if they tell their friends that this isn't good? What happens if they are just being nice and they end up, discarding it later on? All these things come along to give you doubt and to increase fear. Your job is to decrease the amount of fear that you experience in every situation, and you do that by making up stories. You make up now, instead of making up disempowering stories or limiting stories, you make up empowering stories. She's going to love it. They're going to love this. This is the best I've ever done. I am totally self-contained, and I have the ability to bring forth non-physical ideas into physical reality in a perfect way. If they don't see the quality, they'll see it later. They're just not a vibrational match to it. I am going to do what I'm inspired to do, and those who are a vibrational match to what I'm going to do are going to find me. All I need to do is do what I enjoy doing and doing it in joy without worrying about the end result. I am going to do the process with joy because it's something I enjoyed doing, and I'm not going to care about how it lands with someone else. I have no control over how it lands with somebody else. All I can do is bring forth the clearest image of this non-physical idea and make it a physical reality. That's what my job is. I am a tool of the universe. I am the tool of least resistance to bring forth this idea into physical reality. And I enjoy the power and the passion and the entertainment factor that has. It is fun for me. And I'm only doing this because it's fun. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to get kudos from other people. I'm not doing it to stroke my ego. I'm not doing it to feel validated. I am validated. I am good. I'm self-contained. And I can't get any better at this. I can get more confident, but I can't get any better. I can allow it to flow more easily, but I can't get any better. I cannot be more perfect than I am now. I can't increase my perfection. I am as perfect, and therefore I love myself as I am now. And this is a process. This is a fun process to see how easily this can come through, how easily it is to create, how effortlessly this all is. And whether you're painting a painting or building a building or writing a book, it's all the same thing. It is all this idea of talking yourself through it in an empowering way rather than a limiting way.
Joshua, I have something to add for that on Genevieve, because you were asking about how do I allow Genevieve. What works for me, too, is exactly what Joshua was saying about making up the empowering stories, but I also try to focus on the part of me that has the fear, whether it be my ego or my persona or whatever part of me that has the fear, and love that part of me and tell that part of me that it's okay, this is good, we're doing this together, this is going to bring us much joy, it's going to help us be more of who we truly are. And that just helps me to allow and do exactly what Joshua is explaining.
So imagine being here on your journey, and you're at this point in time, this day of the eclipse, and you are where you are. Now, would you really want to be at the end point right now? Would you really want to be the master creator right now? Or is figuring it out part of the fun? Figuring out how to get better, how to get a little better, how to get a little better every day. Now, you're never physically getting better. You're simply seeing yourself as better. So, the process would be something like this. I do my art. My art is fun to do, and this person enjoys it. Boom. Let's go to the next level. I see myself a little bit better now. I do my art. The art has difficulty coming through today, and this person doesn't seem to enjoy it. Boom. I'm figuring something out here. How did I allow it before, and how am I not allowing it now, and how can I figure out how to allow it again? You're playing constantly with this idea of who you are, what it means, what the fear is, where the fear is limiting you, and how do you overcome that fear. And we say, talk yourself through it. when he says, love the fear, feel the fear fully, understand where the fear is coming from, identify what the fear is, and then process that fear and go on and try again and try again. But when you know that you are worthy of your passion, that your passion has been revealed to you, that you have an interest in it, and that it is fun to do while you're doing it, then you know that this is just a game of getting better and better and better. Not physically getting better, but seeing yourself as better. Seeing yourself in a more empowering way. The only difference between you now and the perfection that is you, the true you, is how you see yourself.
Yes.
We see you as perfect as you are, as a magnificent being of pure positive love and acceptance. You are limitless. Nothing can define you. We see that in you now. That is who you are now, except that you're under the illusion that you're not that. Can you imagine living a life understanding who you were? Well, if you could do that, then everything would flow easily and effortlessly to you. But everything is flowing easily and effortlessly to you now. It's just that you're resisting part of it because you think it should be different than it is. But it shouldn't be, because you're here on this journey to learn all this stuff, to understand who you are more closely, more accurately than ever before. And you have never made it this high before in any previous life or in this life. This is the highest vibration you've ever had. Isn't it fun that you've gotten to this point and now you're here talking with us about leading edge concepts that most people would never understand in many lifetimes? So congratulate yourself for that. That is an amazing thing. You manifested this. Was it difficult? Did you set goals? Did you write a list down?
No.
It all just happened, didn't it? It happened naturally. Yeah. So everything happens naturally as long as you allow it. You allowed yourself to get here. You can allow yourself to get anywhere you want. The only difference is the things that you allowed that exist in your life now, you allowed because somehow you figure out a way not to resist them anymore. All you have to do is figure out a way not to resist things. Not to resist all that you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was an excellent question. Who would like to talk next?
I would.
Excellent.
Alette, do you want to go?
No, you go. That's okay.
Okay.
How polite the Europeans are. How pushy the Americans are.
It's okay.
So I was having a conversation with Astrid and reading. Astrid posted a video about Matt. I think his name is Matt Kahn.
Yeah.
And I was watching the video and I got confused because Matt Kahn was saying that our body is on its own journey.
Well, every cell in your body is on its own journey. Every cell in your body is on a spiritual path.
So it could be delayed from my conscience. Like, so for example, like I changed a belief in my mind, but there's a delay reaction in my body because my body has to process it because it's on its own journey.
So your body is the result of your influence.
Okay.
And it takes shape based on your influence, based on the thoughts you think about it, that sort of thing, based on who you think you are. It is a reflection of who you think you are. But you have no real control over it. You can move your hand, you can wink, you can smile, you can speak, but you can't control your liver, you can't control the cells in your toenail. You can't make one toenail grow larger than another toenail or faster. You can't make one hair grow faster than another hair. You have influence but no real control. And the body is here to assist you in this exploration of physical reality. It's your earth suit. It allows you, it allows your consciousness to interact and so that you can explore and understand who you really are. But your body is not you. It is a reflection of how you feel about yourself, but really that reflection can change and your body will change with it. All it does is allow you to perceive reality from a new perspective in every single moment, every single second. As your body ages, you think differently about who you are based on what your body looks like. And that gives you a new perspective on yourself. Your body is able to carry you in other dimensions. As you walk, you're moving through other dimensions. Your body does that for you. But your consciousness is not even tied to your body. You could leave your body and your consciousness could float anywhere, right? And you could come back into your body or around your body. Yeah. So every cell in your body is living life in ease, in a natural state of being, as long as you are allowing it. And if you are not allowing ease, the body will let you know. It'll give you unwanted physical messages, and that you can understand from those messages where your resistance is. And sometimes your body helps you process that resistance. But it doesn't have to happen in the body. It could be an argument with a mate. It could be a traffic ticket. You could get unwanted physical stimuli in the body or outside the body. It's just that the body is closer to you, and so therefore it's more noticeable. And by being more noticeable, it gets the message across easier a lot of times. But yes, so the body is independent of you. It doesn't mean anything about you. It can be whatever you want it to be because it's a reflection of you, just like everything in your reality is a reflection of you. So continue with that.
He was saying that, you know, we drag our body like we drag a dog with a leash. And sometimes the body will like lay down on the road just like a dog that doesn't want to walk any further.
Well, your body is trillions of cells of non-resistance. And when you drag it into resistance, it does not want to go. But when you drag it into love, it most certainly wants to go. Your body is going to want to go to the Joshua Land Cruise. It's going to be excited to be there. It's going to be fully alive and engaged because it's completely aligned with who you are, you see, and what you want. But your body is not going to want to go on a crazy workout that you don't like yourself.
Right.
So it's going to go, you can push your body to do things, right? But if you're not doing it in love, if you're doing it out of fear, it's not going to want to be there. It's going to resist it. So what is an exercise that you love doing?
Walking.
And have you ever had an issue with your body walking? Your body is always want to walk. Now, sometimes you tend to push it too far, maybe, and you might get something. But generally, your body wants to do that. Your body enjoys that. Now, what is an exercise you hate doing?
What do I hate? Something really like an obstacle course.
Yeah. So the obstacle course, you might then be literally dragging your body through it, and you could feel that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is someone working on a manuscript in the background? we hear typing. Sounds like a very interesting story.
No, thanks for explaining that because I got confused and I was talking to Astrid about it and we were going back and forth and I said, you know what, I'm going to ask Joshua.
So if you hate your body and you want it to be different than it is, and so you put it through an obstacle course every day, you can forcibly change the shape of your body. But as soon as you give in, as soon as you're this overwhelming desire to be something different stops, your body will revert back to exactly how it was before. Because unless you change your beliefs about your body's not going to change anyway. Right? It has nothing to do with what you're doing. It has to do with who you are being. Who you are being. Now, if you are being in love with your body, if you are being confident about it, if you were being confident about yourself, then you would be inspired to things that would be out of love for your body, right? And then your body would take this natural shape of love, whatever that is. It might not be the shape that your society deems preferable. It might be its natural shape that just happens to work perfectly for it, right?
Right.
But whatever it was, it would reflect who you were thinking about yourself. So if you think you're a being of love, you would see that in your body.
Now, Laura was saying to Astrid that she could lose 25 pounds overnight if she believed it, but she doesn't believe it. So she wouldn't.
You could change everything in one moment to the next. You could move from this dimension to the dimension where everything exists, where the perfect body exists, the perfect relationships exist, all this, in a snap of a finger, right? Now, that's not the way you do it, because your beliefs don't work that way. That's why you go through manifestation events, because you have this set of limiting beliefs. And these limiting beliefs have to be overcome. And as you overcome each one of them, little by little, you see yourself differently. You see yourself as more perfect than you did the day before. And in that new day, you step into a new dimension where you are slightly better. Because you can't move from A to B. You got to go through every variation of shades or dimensions in order to get to B. And that's fine. That's the way it's done. But there's no difference between moving from A to B to taking a million steps from A to B. It's just easier for you to do that. You could teleport to Paris right now, in this second, if you believe it, right? The vibration of Paris is all you're trying to do is match that vibration. If you get on a plane, you eventually match that vibration by going through a million little dimensions on the way to Paris. But since you believe that by taking a plane, you get off that plane and now you're in Paris, since you believe that's how it works, because that's how it's always worked your whole life, you stand up, you take a step, and you're in a new dimension, right? So, but why even bother with that? Because it's the fun of it is moving through all these dimensions anyway. And you would probably scare yourself if you were able to snap a finger, and go to a new dimension. Without fear, you would easily go to all these dimensions. But because of the reality of fear and physical reality, you limit how quickly you can move. And that's okay, because time is this illusion anyway. You don't need to do anything quickly. You need to do it the way you're doing it. You just think that getting to the end point quicker is better, but it's not better. You see, as you move from who you are now to who you really are, you get all these glimpses of who you're being all the way through. And those glimpses are what you're here for. You're not here to achieve anything. You're here to get all millions of glimpses. That's all you're doing. So if we could really tell you how to be who you really are in the second, you'd miss out on all that fun stuff in between of figuring it out.
Yeah, the journey.
Yeah, and since there is no end to this journey goes on forever, there's just no possible way to get to the end, ever. You will still, no matter how close you get to being who you really are, you will still have all these experiences in between and just moving on to new levels and uncovering new layers of the onion.
How fun.
Exactly. How fun. How fun. How fun. How fun it is to be on this journey in a reality where you think the best part of the journey is the end of it. You know, isn't that an ironic thing? That the only thing you're here to do is take your little steps all the way through life. But this life is this society is sort of set up so that you can finally get to the end and then be happy. You have to be happy going through the little things, struggling with the little things, struggling with these roadblocks that you put in your own way. And if you can do that, if you can realize how fun this conversation is, and how fun it'll be after this conversation, and how there is nowhere to go, and how you just do what you want to do in the moment, and that will lead you to this unfolding of stuff, more stuff, more stuff, more stuff. The only thing that you could do is limit this unfolding. And you only do that in fear. And when you feel a fear, you get to process the fear. Excellent. But if you are limited by fear, and if you don't allow yourself to do anything, then you won't feel good, because you will always be worrying about what other people are thinking, what you could be doing, what should be happening, what's not happening, what's lacking, that sort of thing. You'll be focused in a way on your life that's just not going to feel good because it won't be aligned with who you really are, won't be aligned with your inner self. It'll be a perspective based in this illusion of fear, based in this illusion of danger, instead of a perspective based on the reality of what's really happening in this reality is that everything is coming to you because it's all for you.
Mm-hmm. All for us. I love it.
Yes, I will say, Astrid, enjoy your body as it is.
Enjoy your body as it is, because why would you not?
Right.
Your body's healthy, it moves you around, it's beautiful, you can cut and play with the hair, you can run and jump, you can wave your hands like a crazy person.
It's true.
You can't do this in non-physical.
Obviously.
You can't make this noise. Right?
You can't clap in non-physical?
Yeah, but it sounds like this. You have to make up the noise in your head. Like this. You can't even touch your hands. They go like this. And if it makes a noise, it's all fake, and you know it's fake. In reality, it's all real. Right? You can set up all the stuff in non-physical and go, yeah, okay, big deal. That's just fake. Let's go back to reality. So we go back to reality and watch you guys clap. We go, oh, that's fun. You think we're kidding. We're not kidding. All the fun is here. We're all watching this. Yeah, we can go and look at an eagle and watch an eagle soar around and stuff like that, right? And we can go and we can even create this environment in the non-physical and play with stuff and do all kinds of stuff like that. But the reality is we can't feel fear. And feeling fear is sort of a fun thing because it makes you think things are different than they are. And then we get to watch how you figure it out. And then we can guide you. Hey, look over here, look over here, look over here. And it sounds, when you're in fear, it sounds like this. Or if you have tinnitus, it sounds like crickets. You know, lots of crickets talking. You can't figure it out. But when you're in love, you go, oh, maybe you should go over here. Maybe I should call this person. Maybe I should do this. Maybe it would be fun to do this. And then you get to do that. But if you think it means anything about you, then you go back into fear again. Well, that was a good conversation. Who wants to talk next?
Joshua, about that, about your journey. When we talk about ascended masters, let's first say
you are ascended masters. No,
okay,
you're
but
Jesus.
what about? Yeah. So do those beings? Do they ever come back, or are they like done coming back to physical?
No, it's fun to come back to physical.
So they're
especially this time of awakening. There's nothing but masters on this planet. You have to be a master to be here now. You are masters.
Cool.
Yeah. Coming back. But you can also come back as a guide.
Yeah.
You can come back as an observer. You come back as a whisperer. That sort of thing. It is just as fun to come back as one of Wendy's millions as it is to come back as Wendy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You get the experience of guiding Wendy through all these adventures. And then the joy and thrill. Plus you get to see how life looks through Wendy's eyes. Nobody gets to see what life looks like through Wendy's eyes. If you come back in a physical experience, all you get to see is what life looks like through your eyes. But if you come back as one of Wendy's millions, you get to see what life looks like through her eyes. And that is an expansive process just the same as living a physical life is. So Wendy is expanding in her experience of life. And all of her millions are expanding as well in their experience of Wendy's experience of life. Yeah. So there's so much stuff going on here for each of you. And your millions. And it's all multiplied. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Alette, before you were so rudely interrupted, did you have something you wanted to offer?
No, I just wanted to say that what a coincidence. Genevieve's question tied so nicely into my question today.
What a coincidence. Isn't that true? What a coincidence. Well, what was your question today?
Well, you talked about in a couple of questions before that if I were to quit my job, I would worry. My fears wouldn't go away because it's the condition, and I would worry about my finances. And I started thinking about that, and then I thought, now if I were to let go from my job because of a mistake that I made, of work that isn't okay, then I wouldn't worry about my finances. I would feel a failure, a
You
loser.
worry about what people think of you.
Yeah.
Right. So as you bring forth non-physical information in the form of a translation, which is no different than in the form of art, you think you read a word and then you get the English equivalent of that word or the Dutch equivalent of that word, and you think that you've done that. But no, that word has been given to you. Right? You are bringing forth the information from the non-physical, and you are translating it as best you can from the non-physical into the physical, just as Genevieve is translating the idea as best as she can from the physical to the non-physical. Yet, just like Genevieve, you attach some meaning about who you are in that work.
Yeah.
But there is no meaning of who you are, because the only meaning of who you are is that you are good and worthy. Any other meaning than that is taken out of context.
Yeah.
You are good and worthy, and there's nothing you can do. And so we said that if you were a terrorist, you would not be bad. And if you were a terrorist and did some terrible terrorist act, your terrorist buddies would praise you and shower you with love, because they would think you were good, right? But from their perspective, all they want to do is see you behave in a way that aligns with what they want to achieve, or what they will cause them the least amount of fear. Same as everyone else. From their perspective, from your mother's perspective, she wants you to behave in a way that allows her to feel good. From your boss's perspective, he wants you to behave in a way that allows him to feel good.
Yeah.
They don't really care how you behave as long as they don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't control how they feel anyway. So every day you go in going, I hope they still like me. I hope they still like me. I hope they still like me. I hope I don't screw up so that they won't like me. Because if I make one mistake after these 40 years of being liked, right? One mistake, boom, there goes the love. So now everything that comes your way is fraught with this idea that love can be taken away from you if you make a mistake. Yeah. Now, that's just not an empowering way to think about things, is it? Because, one, you don't know what they're thinking anyway. Two, you don't know if the mistake is really going to lead to a loss of love. It's just your idea that it might, your fear that it might, but it might not. It might lead to love. Some of the biggest mistakes have led to love. Some kids have burned down their houses and never felt more love before. Right?
Okay.
From their parents, right? So, the burning down the house was no coincidence. If you screw up a translation and get called into the office and get something said to you, it's not going to be an accident either. It's going to be something for you. It's going to be something that's going to prove to you that they either loved you anyway and will still love you, or they never loved you and it doesn't matter anyway. So by focusing on this worry about screwing up a translation, all you're really doing is making the universe want to show you how you really feel. So you feel like you're on a tightrope. And if you, as long as you're standing on that, balancing on the tightrope, people will love you. And if you make one small step, you're going to fall off, and they're going to consider you a failure, as not a good tightrope walker. And their love only depends on how long you can stay up there. And it gets pretty tiring to stay up there day in, day out, day in, day out. And all of this is made up in your head because no one's ever told you this. No one ever said, well, we love you because you're a good translator. We love you because you don't make mistakes. No one's ever said that to you. You've just made it all up. So now is the time to make up a new story. To make up, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm either going to give them a reason to feel fear or not. And if they feel fear, well, that's on them. That's based on their perspective and their perception of reality, their limiting beliefs, all that stuff. And I have no control over that stuff, ever, at all, right? I have no control over it. Therefore, I'm going to make up this story that they love me whether I translate well or not, that this job means nothing, that if it's not this job, it'll be some other job, that I actually enjoy this job, I'm actually good at this job, and I can really enjoy it when I know that I can't screw up. When I know that my worthiness is not tied to this. That I know that whether I make a mistake or not, it doesn't define who I am. So if you can be like that, if you can talk to yourself in an empowering way, then suddenly everything gets easier and more fun. And then
I hope so, because I'm fed up with this.
Yeah, we would be too. Yeah.
It's feeling like this, yeah.
Yeah. So there's no reason to feel like that. It's just a choice you make just because that's how you were taught. You set yourself up in this environment in your childhood so that you would gain all these limiting beliefs, and then you get to this point in your life and your frustration with all these limiting beliefs would cause you to want to figure a way out of it. And so the easiest way for you to figure it out of it was to be interested in laws of the universe, and then to somehow find us, and then somehow get in this conversation with us. And then at the end of this conversation, do you know anything more about how to live? No. All you know at the end of this conversation is that you are worthy and good as you are. You're perfect as you are. And you're going to see yourself a little bit better every single day of your life. And as you see yourself as more good, as gooder, as better, as perfecter, as who you really are, a little more, just a little more, then your reality changes to reflect that. And that's all you want anyway. You want the conditions to reflect that you're a good person. Well, you have to know you're a good person first. And the more you know you're a good person, then the easier all these things will come, because there'll be so much less attachment to the quality of your work. Because the quality of your work now really defines you. And so if you want to be good, then the quality of your work has to be good. But it's never going to be good enough, because you don't think you're good enough. So it can't be good enough, right? So you can't get the free-flowing translation through. You always have to get little bits and pieces, and then you always have to find someone who's going to, or some idea that you made some mistake or some worry, back and forth. And that's going to go on and on and on until you figure out that you're good.
Okay.
Did we mention to you that you're good?
Yes, you did.
You're perfect. You're not only good, you're perfect. You're literally perfect. You can't get any better. You're perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
All of you are perfect. All of you who are talking to us on this show just happen to be perfect. You are the 8 or 10 perfect people in the world. Along with all those 6 million listening to this, you're also perfect. And if you're not listening to it now, by the time you get to listen to this, whether that's in a month or 2 months or 10 years, you will have figured out a way to be perfect and then listen to this. But you were always perfect. You were perfect the day you're born, you're perfect the day you die, and you're perfect on every day in between. You can't be less than perfect, because once you're perfect, right?
Yep.
Okay, so there's this statue of David. Is that statue as perfect as it was when it was created? Or has time made it less or more perfect?
A different kind of perfect.
It's still perfect. It's perfect within the context of the vibration of the time.
Yes, because it's being the perfect statue. I'm the perfect Wendy. Kyla's the perfect Kyla. You cannot not be perfect if you are who you are.
Yeah.
It's just,
all you can do is see yourself as imperfect.
Right.
Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It'll never matter what anyone else thinks ever, because they can't know you. It's impossible. Because as they see you, as you appear in their reality, you have a vibration. And your vibration mixes with their vibration. And they see you through the lens of their vibration. So, everyone has a unique vibration. Therefore, every single person will see every other single person differently. The way your parents see you, your children see you, your friends see you, your boss sees you, the store clerk sees you. They all see you differently. The way you see yourself is different too. You know some secrets about yourself that if everyone else knew them, you would think they would think differently of you. So nobody knows you since you're not completely transparent. And even you don't know you because you're seeing yourself through your own limiting beliefs anyway. The only way to know you is at the culmination of this life, when you transition back into non-physical. You will be who you really are. And that person is free from fear. And so without any fear at all, there will be no illusions. Be no illusions of danger. And therefore you'll see yourself clearly. So it just shows you that this life is one of an illusion. And the unfortunate thing, or the fortunate thing, is that your reality is reflected on the illusion that you're believing at the time. And so you might as well believe in the illusion that we're telling you, which is that you're perfect and that you're a limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance. Because if you believe in that reality just a scotch, is that a word? Just a little bit, well, your reality changes to reflect that. So your only work is to figure out a way to see yourself as we see you, to see yourself as who you really are. And even if you can't get there, if you get there just a little bit, well, Lady Gaga sees herself more accurately than, say, your average homeless guy, right? But then again, your average homeless guy probably sees himself more accurately than your average millionaire. We're conveying, huh? Yeah, through body language. Something to think about. Don't tell Gary we're doing this with his face.
Yeah, he might think he looks silly.
He cannot watch these videos. Believe us. We do things that he would never want. He's just happy this microphone is taking up a lot of space on the screen. Excellent. Who's next? Audrey.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for everything, Joshua and Gary.
Where are you calling from?
Quebec City, near Quebec City, Canada.
Wonderful. We hear it's beautiful there.
Yes, it's very nice. So yeah, you're invited.
Okay, we're there now.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I don't have any questions.
Excellent.
Because I'm in your books all day long, and well, maybe a little one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
About the money things. Well, in your Health, Wealth, and Love book, you say that, well, I understand that, but you said you cannot become rich by needing more money.
Correct.
Okay. So when someone quit his job or her job, usually we need money. But not more money, but we need at least some money. And when we want to be rich too, so what do we do to have money?
Why would you want to be rich?
Well, I say rich, it's... Well, I have the answer because I heard you with Arnaud's answer some podcast ago. So, well, it's for the fun of it.
For the fun of it. So always think about why you want something.
Mm-hmm.
Why you want something is the only thing, the why. Don't think about the when or the how, just think about the why. Is the why aligned with love? Mm-hmm. Because it's fun, right? Fun is love. Adventure is love. Exciting is love. Or is it validating? Fear that you're not worthy. Is it security? Fear that you don't have this ability to attract what you need to attract when you need to attract it, right? If it's aligned with love, then you can manifest anything. And you don't do anything to manifest it. You just focus on why, focus on how much fun it would be, on the joy of it, not on the lack of joy that you have now. And then don't worry about how it's to come about. Because in the worrying about having it come about, there's fear, and the fear is limiting. Okay, and the fear will limit you from taking the inspired action you're inspired to take. So just think about this. Let's say that you want to be wealthy. You want to be wealthy because you have this idea of living in a nice house, of having all the modern conveniences, of traveling, of being able to do certain things. Okay. So now say that's fine. That's the idea. Okay. Now I don't need money out of that. You must say to yourself, money is not the tool to that. It might be the tool, but it is not necessarily the tool. That can come from all kinds of sources. But if you say money is the tool, well, you limit all the other sources of it, right?
Yes.
And you will always be thinking in the back of your head, I need money, I need money, I need money. And when you think I need money, you're saying I don't have any money, I don't have any money, I don't have any money. Whatever it is what is real. I don't have money is what is real. I do have everything I need. That is what's real. Okay? I have whatever I need whenever I need it. That speaks to the universe. Okay. So, let's say that of all this abundance that's coming to you, one of the things is a wonderful house. Now, thinking about the wonderful house, you're also thinking about the house that you have now. In order to get the wonderful house, you have to know that the house that you have now is also wonderful.
Yes.
In reality, 90% of the population on Earth would change that house with you in a minute. Right? Your house is super desirable as it is. The city you live in is super desirable. All these things are so wonderful. You really have to come to understand how wonderful everything is now. And then incrementally, you'll be inspired to actions, and these actions will bring up fear. There's going to be some fear in these actions. And the fear is going to either limit you from taking the action, or is going to enable you in overcoming the fear and thereby moving to a new vibration. Okay. So, I want this beautiful house. I want this beautiful lifestyle. I want all these things easily coming towards me. And then you receive the inspiration to teach on a grand scale. And then the fear is, who am I to teach on a grand scale? I am just me. I am comfortable teaching 4 people at a time, but not 40 million people at a time. That sort of thing, right? So you have to get to this understanding of who you are and your value to the world so that you can overcome this fear of not being bigger than who you are.
Yes.
Right? And as you get bigger and more, then more ideas will come to you. So here's how the universe works. You state a desire. The universe will give you a test. Let's give her a little inspiration and see what happens. And then fear's coming up, and you'll say, oh, I can't do that. Or this is not the time. Or I'll wait until later to do that. And the universe will say, she is not ready.
Yes.
The universe is not saying you're not good or not worthy. It's just saying you're not ready. And you don't want anything before you're ready for it. So you will then go back to being small, and then you'll think about this desire more, and then you'll be inspired again, and it'll go on a circle until you overcome these fears. And then everything you want is accomplished by overcoming fear, overcoming fear, overcoming fear, seeing who you really are, seeing yourself from the next level. So the next time you do something and you overcome a fear, well, now you see yourself at a new level. And from that new level, you're inspired to another thing. And from that new thing, you'll encounter a new fear. And you'll either succumb to the fear or move through the fear.
Yes.
As long as your desire... Now, you can manifest desires based in fear, too. But you will never receive what you want out of that. You can work hard and do something you don't like and hate your life and manifest $1 million. But it's never going to give you the security, and it's never going to give you the fun that you think you will get out of it. You know, because you're making it happen in fear, not enjoying what you're doing. The whole goal is to enjoy every moment of your life. And if you can be enjoying every moment of your life, then you can know that things are unfolding. And when you bump up against a fear, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Because you're not ready for it. But if you want to do it, and if you can take the time to analyze the fear, to realize that fear is really irrational. It really doesn't make any sense. Are you coming to the Joshua Land cruise?
No.
Why
well,
not?
Not today. Maybe tomorrow or.
Yes. So why did you have the idea to come? The inspiration to come?
Yes, for sure.
Right.
Yes, I had. Yeah.
Right. So it's something you wanted to do. Why did you want to do it?
Well, for the fun and see you all.
So your desire was based in love.
Oh yes.
And why? What was the fear that held you back?
The fear. Well, it's the fear to go. I can't go by bicycle, and so it's to take the plane, and well, that's the resources. Yes, about
so
the
it's
resources.
fear of not having enough money.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So are you saying that you have no way of getting the money? You have how many people have you asked for the money?
About the cruise or about what?
About going to the land cruise. How many people have you
No,
asked?
no one.
No one. Okay, so you haven't
Yes,
even
yes.
asked one person.
But I asked money for something else, so I'm in my head. I can't ask
you can't
anymore.
do both, right?
Well, no.
Because you have a fear. What will they think of you if you ask again? If you ask
Yeah.
again? If you ask again? What will they think of you? But if you said, I want to go to this, I'm inspired to go because it's joyful, I'm inspired from a place of love, I feel good, and then you get the inspiration to do something, then the fear comes up, no, people will think something of me. And I don't want them to think that way of me. I want them to think this way. Because if they think this way of me, then I can feel good. And if they think that way of me, I'll feel bad. But since I'm making up how they feel about me anyway, then what does it matter, right? So that's all we're saying is you could have done this and that if you wanted to, right? And you did want to. We're saying you could have done this and that if you were able to process the fear. Okay, so here's how we process the fear.
Yes.
You say, I want to go to the Joshua Land Cruise. I don't have any money. Where can I get the money? Oh, I could ask somebody. Okay, so that idea comes to ask somebody. Immediately the fear comes up. Now, is that fear rational? The person that I want to ask for this money, will they kill me? What's the answer?
No.
They won't kill you, so it's a rational fear, right? It's irrational. Think of somebody that you could ask for $10. Okay. Think of that person in your head that you could ask for $10. Now imagine you calling him on the phone and you say, I am involved with these teachings of Joshua. I am spreading this information through the universe. I am allowing those people who are interested in it, who happen to speak French, to get this valuable information. I am the only conduit from this information in English to French. There are a lot of people in French who benefit from this information. I am doing a service to the universe. I am doing something I love in service of the universe and all these people. Now, I'd love to go to this Joshua Land Cruise, this event, and gain more, learn more, get to a higher vibration, figure out more, figure out who I am. I think that in doing this, that I would be of even more benefit to you and to all these people. Do you have $10 that you could loan me or give me so that I could do this? What would the person say?
They say yes.
They would say yes.
Yes,
And
for
even
sure.
if they would say no, you can think they would say yes, right?
Yes.
And if they said no, you could say, I thank you for listening to my story, and I appreciate you, and I understand, right? And then you could do this to 100 people. And in 100 people, you'd have $1,000, right?
Okay.
You could have asked Gary, right? You could have asked anyone in the
I could ask my
Facebook
members.
thing. You could ask your members.
Yeah.
You could ask all these people, right? But yet, you cared what anyone thought about you. And the reality is, if you explained this as who you really are, from the power of who you really are, they would be inspired to donate. And they would donate $10, $20, $100, $1,000. One person would do the whole thing. Because that's how valuable you are to them.
Yes.
You are the only one not seeing your value.
Probably.
Isn't that enlightening?
I like that.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yes, I
We
understand.
see your
So,
value. The people who are talking to you now see your value. Your members see your value. And the only person who needs to see your value is you. And you're the only person who's choosing to see yourself in a limiting way. And that's fine. And you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And by teaching this information, to people, you are figuring it out. You have a highly beneficial belief that you are worthy of teaching this information.
Yeah.
That is highly beneficial. Very few people have that.
Wow.
I already made money with you. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yes. And we are thrilled. We are thrilled that you can do that.
Yeah.
And we invite anyone to do this because in teaching, you are learning more quickly.
For
than
now,
anything else.
I teach and I'm getting paid, so that's good.
Excellent.
Instead of paying to learn.
Yes. Well,
Okay, so
true.
thank you very much, Joshua.
Good. Well, we'll see you at the end of September. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll call Deborah Joe.
Do whatever you're comfortable doing because if you're not comfortable
sure.
doing, then it's just pushing through. Yeah.
I understand. Yes. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who is next? We have time for 14 more questions.
I have something, if that's okay. I've been wondering. This is Julie, by the way.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. So, in all this expansion and learning everything that you have taught us, I was feeling really good. But now I'm at a point where I feel like, oh my gosh, I never knew I was so judgmental. I never knew I was so controlling. I never knew this kind of stuff. And now I feel like that almost every single day. It's the way I judge my husband or my children, or if I get into any negative emotion. So even just with my husband, he got super sick, and I was kind of annoyed with it. And I thought it was just like a pinched nerve in his neck, but it ended up being something way worse. So then I started feeling bad for being on his case, like, oh, why couldn't he push through? And I did end up apologizing to him, but I'm still not at a place where I guess I'm judging myself for judging. So I'm not really sure.
If you are unconscious, then you will assume that your judgments are valid. And you will assume that your unalignment, your dissonance, the lower perspective is the accurate perspective, right? When you become awakened, when you come to understand what is really going on here, then you can see how your behavior is not in alignment with who you really are. And then you tend to judge yourself. Because when you're out of alignment, you feel way worse than you ever felt before. Because you know what's going on. You know what you're doing. And you think you know better now. And so, on the one hand, you're out of alignment, and then by being out of alignment, you judge yourself for being out of alignment, and you just spiral in the circle, zoom, out of control. And so for all of you who are just starting this, who are only in it for a couple of years, or less than that, when you see the inner workings of this universe, and you see what's really happening, then suddenly you are conscious to what you are doing. And when you still do what you've always done, and you know that this takes you out of alignment, then you have only one person to blame. Because before, you could blame the conditions, you could blame fate, you could blame other people for creating your reality. Now that you are totally responsible for everything that happens in your reality, there's only one person to blame. And so instead of pointing the finger outwards, you're now pointing the finger inwards. Well, it's still the same judgmental finger, but now it hurts more because it's pointed at you. Right? And so it hurts more because you understand that you should be feeling good, and you understand who you really are, and you understand how worthy you are and how worthy everyone else is. And so by saying that somebody else is doing something wrong or judging somebody, what you're really doing is saying that you're not able to maintain your alignment. And you're not able to focus on the positive aspects. Well, yeah, you can't all of a sudden focus every day on the positive aspects and maintain your alignment in every second. That's not possible. But before you didn't know that, you could do it, and now you know that at times you can do it. And so when you can't do it, you're like, I should be better than I am. But yet you're perfect. So even in the judgment of yourself and others, you're still perfect. That seems to be a contradiction, doesn't it? Yeah. How can you be bad and be good at the same time? Because there is no bad. If there's no bad and you can only be perfect, then you can only be perfect in everything you're doing, even when you judge that as bad or wrong. And so the only thing that matters is how you feel. So you don't feel good. So you judge your husband as not being able to man up, and then you realize that, oh, that was something serious, and you should have been different than you were. Well, at first you wanted him to be different than he was, and now you want you to be different than you are, and now you understand how this is all playing out for your benefit. So you're going to go through periods of time, everyone will, of falling back on old habits. Because as you fall back on old habits and see them from a new perspective, well, now you can see where you really want to go, and you can birth new desires for what you really want. And you can move forward rather than just moving sideways as you've been doing, unconsciously creating. Now you can consciously create what you want. And through this desire, without desire, you're not going to create anything anyway. So when you have this desire to be more enlightened, more conscious, and to move in a direction of love, well, that desire is going to carry you a long way. And that's what you want. Well,
that's helpful.
Yeah.
That right there, actually, just to move in that desire of love. I hadn't even thought about that. I've just kind of been spinning around thinking that I'm expanding, but if I can focus my desire, my intent on expanding towards love, that was helpful what you said right there, because I don't know what to do when I'm just going through every day and I kind of know what I should be thinking, but then I backtrack and then I get back on track and then I feel like I'm just kind of staying, or I plateaued a little bit or something. So that was helpful. Thank you.
There is no possibility of backtracking. It's just the illusion of backtracking.
Right.
Whenever you feel negative emotion of any kind, whether it's directed at yourself or at someone else, it's this perception of a threat or of danger or of some wrong. So when you think that you're not spiritually moving ahead at the right pace, it's just this illusion that maybe you're not getting it, right? That's an illusion because you are getting it. You're getting everything that you intended to get prior to your birth. You made some major intentions before you were born into this reality. And you are moving towards those at an extremely fast pace. Look at your age, for instance. Imagine coming in the middle of a life like you are right now, where you have kids and a husband and stuff going on, and you're still young and figuring it out, and then you have this ability to raise children in a conscious manner, and to engage in a marriage in a conscious manner, and to engage with your friends and even people that you don't like in a conscious manner, and then to interact at this very high level with us, incredibly high level, and all at such a young age. It's not normal, is it? It is completely out of normal, which means that you are so much more of a master than you think you are. And you're so way beyond where you think you are. And then imagine yourself 20 years from now, looking back on this time in your life, and thinking, wow, I was really, really advanced back then.
Right.
Now I've spent 20 years doing this, and now I can feel it more. But all of the 20 years, all that stuff that happened that 20 years was all created by this desire to learn more right now and to figure it out. Yeah. So we think you're doing an amazing job, and we would like to congratulate you for making it to this vibration, because it is astounding, and being one of the few people on Earth to engage directly in this communication with us means something about who you are.
That is nice. Thank you. That's inspiring.
And as you share it with others, you can feel more and more your power and why you're here and what you're here to do. So what are you here to do?
Me, my purpose?
Yes.
Or
your purpose.
Well,
why are you here?
Hold on, I have to... I guess just be a pure positive being, a limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance. But I guess I have the things, I have my passion. So I think I know what I'm here to do, and be love and move forward. But I also have my passions that I'm into.
Yeah. So you're here to get a glimpse of who you really are, and then to incorporate that into your life. And as you do, everything will unfold just as you intended prior to your birth. No goals are necessary. You don't have to chart any course. All you have to do is allow every day to unfold fully and allow yourself to see the magnificence that is you more and more in every day.
That's what I need to do.
That's what you want to do. Yeah, you don't need to do anything. You can do
or
whatever.
I need to be more allowing to that. Yes.
Yeah, you don't need to be more allowing. You can choose to be more allowing, but you certainly don't need to be more allowing.
Okay.
Only be allowing if it's fun, and only be resisting if you're not ready. But don't be resisting just because you feel fear.
Right.
Yep. Excellent. Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Good. Who else is next? Who else wants to talk? Who wants to jump in and share something?
I would like to talk about the little manifestation exercises with the animals.
That was very fun, wasn't it?
That was so much fun. Let's do something like that again.
So if you haven't done this already, we were proposing an experiment where you sat quietly, closed your eyes, and envisioned this natural scene. You are on the side of a hill overlooking a valley. The middle of the valley is a river running through it. And you envision all sorts of animals and creatures playing in a valley. You might see some deer and some birds and maybe a mama bear with her cub on the other side of the river. No fear, just enjoying the scenery, just enjoying the beauty of it. And allowing yourself to imagine any animal you want and see what animals come up. And as you practice this once a day or twice a day, in your real world reality, you will catch a glimpse of something that appears out of the ordinary. It'll be brought to your attention by your guides. And they will show you this animal, and then you can understand why you were shown the animal. What does the animal mean? And if you look up the definition of the animal, that's a lot of fun. And the first thing Gary saw was a lizard. What is the? Yeah. Does anyone know what the spiritual analogy of a lizard is? It is. It was some. Go ahead.
No, I was saying from memory, it was like intuition, allowing.
It was one who can flow forth non-physical intelligence into physical reality. Sort of what Gary does.
Sort of. Yeah. Who else saw a lizard? When did you see a lizard?
I see lizards all the time, but what I did see, and I didn't post on the Facebook, is I live, in the hills of Laguna, and there was an egret bird in the pine tree across the street from me. There are no creeks or anywhere for this egret to fish. So I have no idea what he was doing there. And I haven't looked it up yet. I need to do that.
And the looking up of it is the most fun because you'll be guided to the particular page that has the definition that resonates with you. So it's a fun experiment, and all it is showing you that by focusing your attention on your imagination and then allowing the manifestation of that imagination to come forth in physical reality, you are maintaining a state of allowing and getting into this place where your guides and supporters can point things out, because that's all they're doing anyway. They're constantly pointing out things to you. They're constantly making you aware of a clock that is aligned, or that you forgot your hat, or that you need to call your mother, or that blah, 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 blah. It's all this constant guidance that's coming forth. And by putting you into a state of allowing, you can see how the guidance is manifesting in your reality. You have a direct correlation between the two. So anytime you want to experiment with your imagination, you will get yourself in a state of allowing as long as you believe it. And it helped because we set the stage. So it helped that we set up the imagination because your beliefs were more in tune with what we had to say rather than coming up with your own experiment. And so this is why it worked. But it will work as long as you have that belief for any experiment you want to do. It's a very simple thing to do. Because all that's happening in reality is this reflection of how you feel. And when you focus your imagination on something, you are tuning to that vibration. That little bit of focus tunes you to that vibration. When Gary goes to play poker, he imagines the dealer pushing huge stacks of chips his way, or turning over his cards where he has the absolute best hand, called the nuts, or seeing the expression in other people's faces as he turns over the best hand, where they had no clue what he had. That sort of thing. He imagines that. And that when that happens in the game, he recognizes that he created that. And he looks for these opportunities of this creation of his imagination. When he gets the first parking lot, he understands that it is his intention that set forth that creation into physical reality. And that he is aware of it and relishes it in that and has fun with it. Because that's all you're here to do, is bring forth these non-physical ideas into physical reality. That's your power as a creator. You are not creating anything new, and nothing you create defines you. It is all simply ideas coming forth from non-physical through you, because you have allowed yourself to be the path of least resistance. So, what's our suggestion to you? Always be the path of least resistance. Gary is the path of least resistance for us to come have this message come forward. He is just allowing this to happen. And the more he allows it to happen without any fear being involved, about any outcome having to be achieved, the more clearly it comes through. And is it clear now? Well, it's clear to a certain extent. But this is going to evolve. And as he has more confidence or less fear, then the message comes out in new ways, clearer and faster and easier and more fun to watch. And he allows himself to speak to more people. And more people are inspired to join the conversation. And you all are inspired to do whatever you want to do to create more of this. It is easy. You can all do it. It's just that you think something means something of you. Gary did not share this with anyone for a long time because he thought it meant something about who he was. Now he's more relaxed about it because he sees the benefit of it, and he shares it with those people who are like-minded. And in doing so, he appreciates how it's coming through and what people are saying and getting more confidence, and there's less fear, and it's all evolving. Well, anything you want to do will evolve exactly the same way. Confidence is love. And the more confidence or the more love you have for something, well, the less space there is for fear. But that fear can be resolved now. And as you resolve fear, you naturally allow in more love. And as you resolve fear, confidence naturally grows within you. The confidence to do anything you want to do, be anyone you want to be, have anything you want to have. You can, if you are inspired to do something, you can allow that to happen by not resisting it. And you resist because of fear. So process the fear and allow whatever you want to happen. And with that, we are complete for this week anyway.
Thank you very much, Joshua.
You are welcome.